Okay, so you ready to go deep on this TikTok thing?
Definitely. It's a story that just keeps getting more and more complex.
Right, it started as this fun, social media platform, and now it's like international intrigue, government bans, billionaires swooping in. It's wild.
Yeah, it's a fascinating case study in how global politics and tech are like colliding head on and, millions of users are caught in the middle.
Exactly. And it's not just about, silly dances and viral trends. We're talking serious questions about, national security, freedom of expression, the future of online communities. So where do we even begin? I mean, what is TikTok at its core?
So at its heart, TikTok is really all about short form videos, those quick, catchy clips often set to music made for like instant entertainment.
Like bite-sized entertainment, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's become a cultural phenomenon, especially for younger generations. I mean, it boasts over 170 million users just in the US.
That's a huge audience. No wonder this potential ban is causing such a stir.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's the real issue here? Why is the U.S. government so concerned about a video sharing app?
Well, the concern really comes down to TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, which is based in China.
Okay, so we're talking about a Chinese company operating a hugely popular app in the U.S.
Exactly. And the US government is worried about the potential for the Chinese government to access user data or even influence the content on the platform.
So it's a data security issue at its heart. We're talking about the possibility of millions of Americans having their data accessible to a foreign government.
Right. And it's not just a hypothetical concern. There have been real instances where data from other apps has been used for purposes that users were totally unaware of.
It makes you think twice about what you're agreeing to when you click accept on those terms and conditions, right?
Absolutely. It's a trade-off we make when we use these platforms' convenience and entertainment in exchange for our data.
And in this case, that trade-off might be too risky for the U.S. government. They're not just talking about it, they've actually passed legislation, right?
Yeah, in 2024, they passed a law called PFACA, the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act.
Okay, that's a mouth.
It is, but basically it gives the government the power to restrict apps that they deem a national security risk.
And TikTok is at the top of that list.
Exactly. PFACA basically says either sell TikTok to an American company or face a ban, and that deadline is January 19th, 2025.
So the clock is ticking, and the Supreme Court is likely to uphold PFACA any day now, which means that deadline is about to get very real.
Right, and that's why American TikTok creators are understandably freaking out. They've built their careers on this platform, and now it could all disappear.
Which brings us to this other app, RedNote, right? It's like the backup plan, the escape route for all these TikTokers.
Yeah, RedNote, or Jiahongshu, as it's known in China, is another short-form video platform, but with a bit of a twist.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, it originated in China, and it has a really strong focus on e-commerce and product reviews. So it's kind of like a blend of TikTok, Instagram, and online shopping all in one.
So it's not just a TikTok clone. It has its own unique features.
Exactly. And we're seeing this mass migration of creators from TikTok to RedNote. It's like they're setting up a lifeboat before the ship even starts to sink.
I've seen people calling themselves TikTok refugees. It's like they're seeking asylum in the world of RedNote.
Right. It's this fascinating exodus happening in real time. But here's where it gets really interesting.
I sense a plot twist.
RedNote, just like TikTok, is also a Chinese-owned company.
Oh, wow. So are American users just trading one potential security risk for another?
That's the big question. It's like jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire.
It really highlights the complexity of this whole situation. There are no easy answers, and the potential consequences are huge.
It really makes you think about the long-term implications for social media and, our digital lives.
It's a question of where do we draw the line between national security and freedom of expression in this digital age?
It's a tough one, and this whole situation with RedNote just adds another layer to the debate.
It definitely makes you think, what are we willing to sacrifice for our online connections? Are we so reliant on these platforms that we're willing to overlook potential risks?
It's a question we all need to be asking ourselves, and it's one that's going to become even more important as this whole TikTok saga unfolds.
And speaking of unfolding, it looks like there might be a delay in the ban. President Trump might sign an executive order to push back the deadline, giving his administration more time to find a U.S. buyer.
So potentially a last-minute save.
It adds another layer of intrigue to this already complicated situation.
For sure, and the list of potential buyers is pretty interesting. We've got Elon Musk, a group of celebrity investors, even the possibility of TikTok calling the government's bluff.
Now that's what I call a cliffhanger.
Definitely a story we'll need to keep following closely.
Absolutely. We'll dive into those potential buyers and the political maneuvering in part 2 of this deep dive. So stay tuned.
So it's pretty crazy, right? All these TikTok creators having to like pivot and adapt.
Yeah, it's like their whole world is being turned upside down.
It is. And, they're having to basically start from scratch on this new platform.
It's like, imagine you've built this whole business, and suddenly you have to pack up and move to a new country, learn a new language. It's a lot of pressure.
Totally. And it's fascinating to see how this is reshaping the social media landscape like in real time.
But why Red Note? I mean, what is it about this platform that's attracting all these TikTokers?
Well, on the surface, Red Note offers a similar format to TikTok. Short-form videos, emphasis on visuals, the potential for stuff to go viral.
Right. But it's not just a copycat platform, right? There's got to be something else.
Yeah, Red Note has its own unique features that are particularly attractive to certain types of creators.
Okay, spill the tea. What makes Red Note different?
One key difference is the focus on e-commerce. Red Note has this really seamless integration of shopping into the user experience.
So creators can actually sell stuff directly through their videos.
Exactly. They can showcase products, link to online stores, even host live shopping events.
It's like QVC meets TikTok. That's pretty smart, especially for creators in the fashion, beauty, lifestyle space.
Right, and it's not just about those quick hits of entertainment. Red Note allows for longer captions, more detailed content, so creators can build a deeper narrative around their products and services.
It's like a blend of social media and blogging, gives creators more space to connect with their audience.
And we're seeing a real shift in the type of content on Red Note. It's less about dance challenges and more about tutorials, reviews, behind-the-scenes stuff.
So it's not just a platform swap, it's a content evolution.
Exactly. And it'll be interesting to see how this impacts the creator economy as a whole.
Right, because it's not just about the format. TikTok's success is also due to that algorithm and the way it serves up content so precisely.
Yeah, that algorithm is legendary. It's like their secret sauce, the key to their rapid growth and cultural dominance.
And it's also at the heart of this whole security debate, right?
Exactly. It's this powerful tool that can be used for good or bad. And it's what makes this whole situation so complex.
So let's talk about those potential buyers, shall we? I mean, we got Elon Musk in the mix. That's going to be interesting.
Right. He's already shaking things up over at Twitter, or X, as it's now called, and now he's eyeing TikTok. It's clear he sees the potential.
He's definitely not afraid to take risks.
Yeah.
So what would a Musk-owned TikTok look like?
That's the big question. His time at Twitter has been marked by controversy, from relaxing content moderation to really promoting his own personal brand.
Some people worry that a Musk-owned TikTok could become a haven for misinformation and hate speech.
Right. But others see him as a visionary leader who can breathe new life into a platform that's facing an existential threat. It's a real gamble.
High risk, high reward.
Exactly. And then you have the bid from Kevin O'Leary and Frank McCourt, which is interesting because it's partially crowdfunded.
So it's like a grassroots effort to save TikTok.
Yeah, it speaks to the passion and loyalty of the users. But here's the catch to it. Their bid doesn't include TikTok's algorithm.
So they're proposing to buy the shell of the company without the engine that makes it run.
Right, and that raises the question, can you really have TikTok without that secret sauce?
It seems like a recipe for disaster, like buying a Ferrari without the engine. It might look cool, but it's not going anywhere.
And then there's the wild card option. TikTok could just ignore the ban and dare the government to do something about it.
That's a bold move, but there could be serious consequences, right?
Absolutely. The law as it stands makes it very difficult for TikTok to operate in the U.S. They could face fines, legal challenges, even a complete shutdown.
So it's a high-stakes game of chicken with a lot on the line.
Definitely. And just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, there's one more twist to this whole story.
All right, lay it on me. What's this final twist?
Well, remember how we talked about President Trump potentially delaying the ban to buy more time for a sale?
Yeah, it seemed like a last-ditch effort to kind of smooth things over.
Well, get this. President-elect Donald Trump is also thinking about doing the same thing.
Hold on. 2 presidents back-to-back, potentially delaying the same ban.
It's like a political hot potato. Everyone's trying to pass it on.
So the outgoing president wants to look strong on national security, and the incoming president wants to avoid making a controversial decision right out of the gate.
Yeah, it's a delicate situation, and both administrations know how popular TikTok is. They don't want to alienate millions of voters.
Especially young voters who are very active on social media.
Right, so they're stuck between a rock and a hard place national security concerns versus the potential economic and political fallout of a ban.
It's a tough call. So with all these delays and potential buyers, is the ban even going to happen?
Honestly, it's anyone's guess at this point.
I mean, what are the possibilities here?
Well, the Supreme Court could uphold PFACA, and the ban could still go into effect despite the delays.
So basically a delayed execution.
Or one or both presidents could successfully negotiate a sale to an American company that would avert the ban entirely.
The 11th hour rescue mission.
Exactly, but there's a third and maybe even more surprising possibility. TikTok could just do nothing.
Ignore the ban completely.
It's risky, but it's not entirely out of the question. The law as it stands mainly targets app stores and service providers. It doesn't actually force TikTok to shut down.
So they could call the government's bluff?
They could, and it would be a huge gamble, but it might just work.
What would the consequences be if they did that?
Well, new users wouldn't be able to download the app, updates might be blocked, and companies like Oracle, which hosts TikTok's content, could get into legal trouble.
It's like a high-stakes game of chicken with the future of TikTok hanging in the balance.
And speaking of TikTok, remember RedNote, the alternative platform that all those creators are flocking to?
Yeah, the supposed safe haven from the ban.
Well, it's not even clear if RedNote would be allowed to operate in the U.S. if TikTok is banned.
Wait, you mean RedNote could be banned too?
It's a possibility. RedNote is also a Chinese-owned company, so it could face the same national security scrutiny as TikTok.
It's like jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire all over again?
It really shows how unpredictable this whole situation is and how one decision can have these ripple effects across the entire social media landscape.
So in the end, we're left with more questions than answers. It's like we've gone down this rabbit hole and we've come out the other side more confused than when we started.
It's a complex issue with no easy solutions, and it really makes you think about the future of the internet and, how much control governments should have over our online lives.
It's a question that's not going away anytime soon.
And one that we all need to be thinking about carefully.
Well, this has been a wild ride exploring this whole TikTok saga. We've gone from dance trends to national security threats, from potential buyers to political maneuvering. It's been quite the deep dive.
And it's a story that's still unfolding. We'll have to see what the next chapter holds.
To all our listeners out there, what are your thoughts on this whole TikTok situation? Head over to our website or social media pages and share your opinions. We'd love to hear from you.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.